This video is primarily for my students, but I wanted to talk about meditation. Meditation is part of my daily practice. I try to do at least 5 minutes a day. If I'm really busy, I do 5 minutes, but most of the times I do around 15 to 20 minutes of meditation. And meditation, I tried a bunch of times, but never truly understood how to do it, like the whole purpose of doing it, and how to actually practice it, and how meditation fits into your whole complete portfolio of mental health care. That only made sense to me very recently, so I wanted to share my findings, and hopefully you will have a much faster progress than making sense out of this. So when we think of meditation, we typically think of someone sitting in a lotus pose or like full half lotus and just sitting here and just like doing nothing basically, right? And now, that is, I'll be honest, what I thought too. And I used to listen to a lot of guided meditation. They just gave me like what to focus on. And it was mostly for me used as a tool to practice my concentration and focus. But how does it fit into the grand hierarchy or like grand puzzle of complete mental health care, especially from the perspective of Buddhism? Well, Buddhism teaches that one of the core, factors about life and existence is impermanence. Nothing is permanent. But the thing is, we get caught up in this imaginary kind of idea about permanence. So, for example, we think that our ideas and the thinking thought hierarchies that we have created in our mind are always correct and they will always stay correct. So, for example, um, I think my book is not selling very well. So that must mean that like my book sucks, right? And I wasted all my time writing my stupid book when I could have been spending all that time playing Path of Exile or something like that. And now, what if the book suddenly starts selling well? Then that thought was just gonna fleet away, right? And maybe later on, I'm just gonna forget that I wrote a book. And then, so that thought is just a mirage that's just fleeting in my head at the moment, but I give it a lot of thought, and that thought assumes control over my head and starts manipulating me. So the whole point of meditation is to, number one, by intentionally bringing your focus on something very, very specific, over time you're gonna recognize that, oh, like literally any thought will pop up, but as long as I keep bringing my focus back to something, that thought's gonna fleet. Like if I lose track and I keep following the thought, 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 I dig myself a hole that's bigger and bigger, and I start living in it. But if I catch myself doing that and I come back, and there's something always kind of there, something very permanent that I can always come back to. When I have that, over time, I can really recognize that not just the certain thoughts, but any thought is a fleeting mirage of an idea. And so that's the number one importance of proper, so to speak, meditation. Proper in the sense of the meditation that I'm going to discuss in this video is called Anapana meditation, and it's a sub-module of the Vipassana meditation. But continuing on. So, number one, meditation helps us realize that thoughts are fleeting. And number two, the whole grand purpose of meditating is overcoming yourself. Now, when you sit for a prolonged amount of time, your legs will go asleep. And if you've never sat down statically before with just your mind, your body will be itching to move. Your posture will also break. and you will want to be distracted. You will want to look at your phone. You will want to open your eyes to stretch for a little bit. You will get itchy, so you will want to randomly itch, and so on. But the point is, when you give into those urges, I scratch it. Momentarily, it feels good, right? And then I stretch. Momentarily, it feels good. I look at the phone. Momentarily, I'm okay. But if when this repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats, this practice is basically karma. Your habits, the things that you've been doing unconsciously all the time, want you to not do this. It wants you to repeat. It wants you to continuously engage in the reincarnation of this cycle. And so karma, when I say it, it feels like a mojo kind of a, like too spiritual, kind of a not realistic kind of a feeling or a sensation, right? But this is exactly what karma is. You're looking at your phone all the time, not that that is bad. You're stretching compulsively and you're always feeling kind of like, tight everywhere. You're always randomly itching, and then guess what? That translates deeper into you want to eat, like overeat unconsciously, and you want to sleep in because there's no point in waking up early. You want to give in to the desire to drink. You want to give in to the desire to use. You want to give in to the desire to, like pleasure yourself. While none of those things are inherently bad, it's just that as long as you continue feeding that loop, who's in charge of your life? Your habits and your karma is in charge of your life, not you. So meditation is a practice in overcoming those desires, overcoming those unconscious tendencies that want to repeat itself, even for just a few minutes in the day. And tied with the point number one, as you do this more and more, you're gonna recognize that you're giving into your body's comforts. You're gonna be engaging in something unconsciously. You're gonna be eating way past your like fullness, and then you're gonna be like, "Oh crap, I'm full already." But then I just can't, I'm not stopping eating because I have an eating tendency that just keeps on going until the plate is empty, which is something that I actually have. And then other times is you will be listening to another person talking, and then it's not even an argument, but then you would start feeling a little bit like getting more emotionally invested in what this other person is saying, and then you will recognize that again this is just a tendency of my mind to react to this person in this certain way, right? So it's all about recognizing the tendencies that we have and trying to put an end to it. Like, I want to smoke. But I'm trying to quit. It feels so bad. Because I'm trying to quit. Uh, uh. And then I eventually light one. It feels so fucking good. Oh, God, it feels good. But then, I started smoking again. Now I need to quit again. So it's that entire cycle, right? So how do we not give into that cycle? Number one, you just notice it. You notice that, I really want to smoke right now. And coupled with number one, that urge to smoke is gonna wither away. It doesn't have to continue to dominate your life by making you control and hold the urge or making you give into the urge, right? There is a third option, which is to just notice it and just let it be. And this also another example of this is like a competitive mindset. Like when you're really competitive and you love the sport, but like the competition aspect is just draining all the fun out of it, you just gotta realize that there are no winners and losers in life. The game is just a construct based on points and based on arbitrary like systems that determine a deterministic kind of a win-lose condition. And it doesn't have to be a determining factor in your enjoyment of the sport. So you recognize, yeah, other people are playing the game, and I'm aware that there is a game, but then I just stop actively participating from the mindset that I'm competing. I am just here because I'm enjoying the sport. So to summarize once again, number one, the point is to recognize the fleeting nature of thoughts. And number two, to try and temper and detach ourselves from our urges. And number three, I think, this is more of a personal flavor, but I really think we don't have a ton of time to ourselves in general. When we go to vacation, we have this feeling of like, oh, yes. Oh, I don't have to vacuum. I don't have to do chores. I don't have to cook. Oh, I don't have to work. So that relaxing sensation that you get from work, vacation, because you have nothing else to do, is a voluntary choice that you can have at any point in your life. And you can start that sensation by meditation because now, when I turn off all my senses and I just focus on meditation, what keeps happening? Thoughts keep happening. Sometimes it's thoughts about like things I have to do. Sometimes it's things about like other people. Sometimes it's about my wife. Sometimes it's about my dog. But then I realize, oh, I'm thinking about these things. And then I come back to meditation. And then now I keep thinking about like, okay, so after meditation, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna blah 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 blah, take care of this, take care of that, take care of that. But now that part, future me can handle. Future me can handle fine. So for the moment where I'm meditating, I'm just here for me right now. And that's a very, very peaceful sensation that you will, I think, not enjoy for the sake of like, oh yeah, this feels so fucking good, but it's something that you really get to appreciate over time. And with that, those are, I think, the three primary benefits of meditation. I want to talk a little bit about how to actually do the meditation. So if you're flexible enough, you can go full lotus if you've done some yoga before. Please search on YouTube for safety tips on how to do a lotus pose because there is a possibility that you can hurt your knees or your ankles if you do it the improper way. For example, don't pull the ankle up and don't push the knee down. That's like basically you're giving yourself like a knee bar. Um, and moreover, half lotus is completely fine because lotus itself is just like really good for stability, but at the same time, it's kind of not that great for joints. So, uh, for the purposes of like 5 minutes shorter meditation, full lotus is fine, but it is no way a requirement in the form of meditation. But anyway, you are going to sit down on the ground, hopefully with a cushion on the bottom so that your sit bones don't get like you. I mean, technically you could do whatever you want, but like it does help the sit bones to sit on a soft surface. And now, as you have that, you just collect your arms near your body wherever, like just make them sit on your lap. There's no proper form of doing this, but the really important thing is it's a balance of focus and relaxation. So the focus needs to be on because if you just are relaxed, like you're hunched and everything's just kind of curling in, you will feel sleepy. And the sleep will win, and you're just gonna doze off. We don't want that to happen. But at the same time, we don't want this to be like a white knuckle kind of an experience. So, for example, I went to the army in Korea, and thus this is an apt metaphor for me. But I don't know, maybe in summer camp you do this kind of thing, where at night you're on guard, and when you're on guard, you're just look aware and alert for things, right? So if you're like a soccer player and you're the goalkeeper, or like you're a basketball player and then you're waiting for the ball to kind of enter the play and such, that's like focus. But when we're too focused, we just get like lose track of like the point of it's gonna be too strenuous for the body, which isn't the point. Because the point is to find the balance so that your body is doing what it's naturally doing, but at the same time your mind is focused. So we're trying to find the balance between focus and relaxation. So I want your arms and like legs to be relaxed, but at the same time your posture there's has to be some tension there, some kind of an isometric tension, so that you're meditating in a proper posture that's like upright instead of something that is more inviting to sleep. And then you close your eyes, and ideally you want to make a kind of a situation where it's free of distraction, no phones, no computers, no pets. If you're fine with ignoring them, good. But if you are the type of person who is really sensitive to pets' demands, like I would recommend going into another room. But that's also why I do this early in the morning because my dogs are uh late sleepers. They like to sleep in, so I just do this alone. So I just after my 108 bells in the morning, which I'll talk about in the next episode or something. But anyway, early in the morning, you wake up and then you sit down and you close your eyes and start meditating with an upright pose. And now, what else to do with the rest of the body? You close your eyes, and why close the eyes? When you try to listen to somebody and you're having a hard time hearing them, you close your eyes, right? You're basically temporarily shutting off all the other senses so that you can stay focused, right? So that's why a lot of people use noise canceling headphones when they're trying to focus and such. Or they want like some white noise so that they don't have to be conscious of every sound that's popping up nearby. It's just like that. The purpose of closing the eyes is just to temporarily turn off all the senses. And the purpose of being static is also turning off all the like distractions that may come from kinesthetic movement. And what do is you breathe naturally, but everything else is fake except for the sensation that you feel at the tip of your nose as air travels in and travels out. You're not going to discern this by sound because then other oral stimulus comes in. You're not going to do this by controlling your breath, which is something that I used to do. Then it becomes like controlling of your body, right? Your primary goal here is to let the body do what it's doing, which is breathing. Like every living thing breathes. So the basic requirement for meditation is just breathing. So that's why in some videos, Buddhist monks say you can meditate while you're driving. Meditation is like very accessible to calm your mind because all you need is this. But in any case, the only thing that you are focusing on and for this purpose is real is the sensation that you feel as air travels in and out. Now, is it really minute? Yes. Is it really difficult to sense? Yes. That is what makes it concentratable. Because when you focus on the other senses, it will eventually lead you to follow the other stimulus that's connected to it, to that sensory organ. But the breath is very there's not a lot of things that intentionally touch inside the nostrils. So you're just trying for an extended period of time to just focus on the sensation that comes in through your nostrils as you breathe in and as you breathe out. And as you test it out, you're going to experiment with different pacing. You're going to experiment with different intensity. Okay, so this is what an inhale feels like when I do it like abruptly or fast or slow. You're going to slowly feel like you're going to get in touch with the feeling of your nostrils. And then as time passes, your heart rate will slow down. You'll be relaxed. And at the same time, posture will be upright. And your breathing will be gentle. And as your breathing becomes very, very gentle, number one, it'll be very difficult to sense what's happening inside the nostrils. And number two, other thoughts will start popping up. Distracting thoughts will start popping up. And again, that is the point of this. You will never reach a state where you're going to be a complete vegetable and you're not going to have thoughts. The whole point is to train the mind in being aware that, I'm thinking of something else. I'm going to intentionally bring it back to the breath. This is a daily practice in exercising your willpower and recognizing it when you're not acting on your will, but acting based out of habit and urges. And as deceptively simple as this sounds, that's basically it. And I do this every day again for a minimum of 5 minutes, but usually 15 to 20 minutes. Tomorrow I'm meeting with my students at 4:30 a.m. in the morning to participate in a 30-minute meditation with my students for the sake of overcoming yourself, trial number one. So that is my interpretation on why we do meditation, what the benefits are, and how the mechanics of meditation work. One thing I forgot to mention is that yes, your legs will go numb. I guarantee it. And your arms will also start losing flow of blood because your arm actually requires movement of your biceps to pump blood back to its fingers. And there's a lot of other things in the body that will happen. So as you open your eyes, you will need to let your body kind of slowly wake up. And what I recommend is straightening out your legs slowly and then using your palms to gently move your kneecaps, patella around in a circular motion. That really kind of eases the knee into waking up. And that is it. So this is my meditation guide and my inaugural podcast episode, the July Life Coach podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.